Hello there, my name's Tracy Elsom. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator based in Canada. Today I want to show you how I went about making this scene. This is a card that I made as part of the design team for the What Will You Stamp Challenge. And I had a lot of people admiring the card and asking how I actually did it. So today I thought I would show you in real time exactly how I would go about creating a scene. Now obviously this is hand coloured, it's hand stamped, so there will be some slight differences in what I end up with, which is always the way, and I actually quite like that. So what I'll do is I'll show you the process and hopefully it will help you to make your own scenes. So I started off with a piece of paper. And on my paper, when I'm making a scene, I simply just draw a rough outline of the card, and then I would maybe draw a line there, and that would be my sky, and I'd draw a few hills there, and I could leave all of this just as water, but actually it ends up being a little boring and a little bit flat. So what I tend to do is I like to put an angle on, so I would do something like that. And then maybe like that, and this would be my water, this would be my path or my sand, and this would be my grass. And what I've done is I've basically considered a point off the side of the card, and all my, if I actually do it properly, everything sort of goes off towards one point, so my path is going up in that direction. But that gives me the basic outline of my card. So I'm going to start with some very vanilla card, and I'll make this first horizontal line to start with, and I want it to be a little bit more than halfway. So we'll just put that into place. Post-it note in place just to protect that side of paper. Now with another piece of scrap paper, I'm just going to tear a very rough edge. There we go. And I'm going to keep both pieces. Start off by placing this just there like that. This is this first line, and I think we'll start with So Saffron ink, and it's literally just a piece of sponge, and I'm just going to very quickly sponge some of this So Saffron ink over that area. That's all I need there. Now I'm going to bring in Sahara sand, and with another piece of sponge I'm going to add some of the Sahara sand over the top. It's a very light sort of sandy brown colour, and it just takes the brightness off that yellow, so it's a little bit more natural. Okay, so that's that piece done. Now I'm just going to move this just a little bit so you can see where I've got this line. Now I need to move it down a little bit to create the edge of my path, and I think I want to make it a little bit squarer there. So I've got that piece, and I'm just going to do that with some Old Olive ink. So again, just a sponge, there we go. So there's my Old Olive ink. Now going the other way, the reason I've kept this piece of paper is because it actually is two halves of the same piece. So where I had this one, if I can work out where it went that way. Ha! Okay, so it went that way, which means that one gives me protection of this piece that I've already sponged. So now I'm going to come in with some Marina Mist ink and a piece of sponge, and I'm just going to add a little bit of blue there. And you can see there are little lines and things in the sponging, but that actually doesn't matter. Once you've stamped on top, you've added some other colours on top. You won't really see those at all. So there's my Marina Mist. Okay, next, some Smoky Slate. I want this water to be a little bit dark, a little bit moody. This isn't a Caribbean type scene. It's a little bit more moody than that. And I'm literally just sponging a little bit of grey over the top. And you can see this time I'm going side to side because I want the water to be sort of showing in that direction, so that kind of helps me there. Now, back in with the Marina Mist, I'm bringing in the High Tide stamp set. This is the stamp set that I used to create the original card. And there's a couple of images in here that I want. There it is. Thought I'd lost it for a minute. So it's this one of the water. So I'm literally just going to stamp that down. And again, you can see I'm holding the mask in place, and that's protecting the rest of the sponging. So there's my image there of the water. Okay, so now it's time to take that piece off, and I'm going to just place my mask just there. Now I'm going to use the same mask, and I'm going to create some hills. So with the soft suede ink pad, let's add a little bit of hill there. So again, and just gradually building up the colour as you go along. Alright, so that's that one. I'm going to take this mask, I'm going to move it slightly, and let's put it just there like that. I don't want it to be absolutely in the middle, I want it to cross slightly differently. There we go, that will do. So again, I'm filling that in, and you can see I'm actually now sponging over that original piece there, and that's fine. So now when I pull that off, I've got some hills there, and that's all done. Now the final part is the sky. For this I have soft sky ink, and because this is quite dark here with the hills, I don't really need to worry about masking that off. So I'm just going to add some soft sky ink to there. Now again, you can see it's a bit blotchy, it's a bit patchy, but then the sky is never one colour. The sky itself is always different colours. So I tend not to worry too much about light areas and dark areas. It actually makes it more interesting. Excuse me, makes it a little bit more interesting if you have those areas of dark and light and shade. Now again, because I want this to be a little bit moody, I'm coming back in with the Smoky Slate, and again I'm just going to sponge it side to side over there. And that just darkens up the sky a little bit and creates a little bit of a moody effect. Okay, so there is that part of the scene. Now I need to add my grass to the bottom area there, and again back to this stamp set I'm going to use this little piece of grass there, which is that one, and my old olive ink. And for this I'm just going to stamp it and then stamp it again, because I want the grass to be in different colours, different shades. So I'm just tapping it all over the place, not really placing it anywhere. I want this to be a grassy hill. So I don't want to be able to see any sort of straight lines on there either. I want it to look natural and not so that you can see that it's one individual stamp just repeated. The idea is it's created slightly differently. Now I've got a little bit of ground here, so I'm going to just add a few more pieces of grass just coming in from that side there as well, so that kind of gives you that effect. Now what I'd like to do is create a little bit darker there, I think, on this path. So I'm going to come back in with the Sahara sand, and I'm just going to add a little bit more just along there. There we go. Okay, so the final part for this was the birds, and my flying birds are here. And with the Smoky Slate ink, I'm just going to add the birds to my scene. There we go, like that. Okay, so that's the basic scene. And now to finish it off, all I want to do is to bring in another piece of very vanilla card, and I'm going to attach that using a little bit of Tombow glue, multi-purpose liquid glue. I love using this stuff. You only need a tiny amount, but it gives you the ability to move things around for a couple of seconds after you put it down, which means I can line that up and make sure that I feel I've got it in the centre. Then a little bit more multi-purpose liquid glue. And this time I'm going to put it onto some soft suede card. This is using the same colour scheme as we had on the original card. But this time I'm not going to put the sentiment on. I want this to be a picture rather than a card. So there is that. All I need to do now, I have a simple frame that I purchased in a store. I won't put the glass in because you'll find it very difficult to see. I'll put the glass in afterwards, but for photography purposes it's much easier not to have the glass in. And there is the scene. So I hope you found that interesting. I hope you found that helpful, and I'd love for you to have a try to see if you can make your own scenes just by a little bit of sponging and stamping. I look forward to speaking to you again soon. Bye.